for getting just a little bit of a late start this afternoon. Good afternoon. The Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 Kingsport City Schools Board of Education regular meeting is now called to order. And we're going to begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I think Dr. True has some incredible leaders who are going to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I do. Thank you very much, Ms. Woods. I have a couple of great young men from Adams Elementary that are going to come and help us say the pledge to get our meeting started tonight. We have Colton Little and Lane Smith. And if Colton and Lane, if you all could come on up. We were talking with them. They've had big days today, and we're really excited you all are here. Help me, Colton, we were talking, I forgot to ask you in the back. Who is your teacher?
Miss Smith.
Miss Smith. You know Miss Smith, don't you?
Yeah, she's my mom.
She's your mom. Who is your teacher?
Miss Andrews.
Very good. So we are glad you all are with us tonight. And this is a pretty big deal that you're going to help us start. We can't start the meeting until you guys say the pledge. So are you ready? Okay. So we're going to ask everybody if you would please stand. And gentlemen, the flag is right back here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Well, Colton and Lane, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us tonight, and we hope you have an incredible school year. Great job. Tonight is a very special night for many reasons, and our next item of business is the swearing in of our new Board of Education members. And so we have Miss Angie Marshall, Deputy City Recorder, who's going to be taking care of that for us.
Normally, the mayor or somebody comes, but you're just stuck with me tonight, so I apologize. I'm trying to dress up. You will have a print that has your name on it over here. Miss Vivian will give that to you. I'm not saying you have to give me a microphone. Miss Vivian will give you the print. It's a commissioned artwork back in the 1980s, and there were 200 of them, and they're all numbered and signed by the artist. And every Board of Education and Board of Mayor and Alderman member that is elected gets one of these. So there's some information about it on there. And I also have some paperwork to sign, but we'll let Vivian take care of that also. So I will just have my first victim, honoree. Do you have any family here that would like to know? Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Do you affirm that you have all the qualifications and are not subject to any disqualifications named in the City of Kingsport Charter for the office of Board of Education member? Will you support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the state of Tennessee, and the charter and ordinances of the City of Kingsport? I will. Do you affirm that you will, well and faithfully, discharge the duties of the office of Board of Education member of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee?
Yes.
Congratulations.
And I think next we have Phillip Marshall.
Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Do you affirm that you have all the qualifications and and are not subject to any disqualifications named in the City of Kingsport Charter for the office of Board of Education member. Will you support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the state of Tennessee, and the charter and ordinances of the City of Kingsport? Do you affirm that you will and faithfully, discharge the duties of the office of Board of Education member in the City of Kingsport, Tennessee? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And now, Mr. Todd Golden.
You should have this memorized by now. Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. Do you affirm that you have all the qualifications and are not subject to any disqualifications named in the City of Kingsport Charter for the office of Board of Education member? Will you support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the state of Tennessee, and the charter and ordinances of the City of Kingsport?
Absolutely.
Do you affirm that you will, and faithfully, discharge the duties of the office of Board of Education member in the City of Kingsport, Tennessee?
Yes.
Well, congratulations to really new members and newly re-elected members. We are so glad that you're here with us and are willing to serve. And I just want to take the time to say thank you to the families of these board members. It is a sacrifice for all people, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So we are so thankful that you are supporting them in what they're doing and looking forward to serving all together. So thank you very much. Our next item is item 1.3, which is the review of BOE responsibilities and boardsmanship standards. Policy 1.2021 is the Boardsmanship Code of Conduct. The code, as recommended by the Tennessee School Boards Association, shall be the guide for the Board of Education of Kingsport City Schools and be read aloud annually at the September board meeting. So tonight, each board member is going to take a different article, and I think everybody knows which one they're assigned. And so I'm going to go ahead and I will start with Article 1. My relations to the children. I will at all times think in terms of children first, always determining how my actions and decisions will affect the education and training of children. I will seek to provide equal educational opportunities for all children, regardless of ability, race, color, sex, creed, or location of residence.
I will endeavor to appraise fairly both the present and future educational needs of the community and to support improvements as finances permit. I will represent at all times the entire school community and refuse to represent special interests or partisan politics. I will endeavor to keep the community informed about the progress and needs of the schools. I will represent the board and the school district to the public in such a way as to promote both interest and support. I will refer to other board members, staff, students, and the public with respect when using social media.
My relations to teachers and personnel. I will support the employment of those persons best qualified to serve as employees and insist on a regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. I will support and protect personnel in performance of their duties. I will not criticize employees publicly, but will express any relevant concerns to the superintendent of schools for investigation and action if necessary.
My relations with other board members. I will understand that the board makes decisions as a team and that individual board members may not commit the board to any action. I will refuse to make promises as to how I will vote on a matter which should come before the board. I will make decisions only after full discussion of matters at a board meeting. I will respect the opinion of other members and will accept the principle of majority rule in all cases and give support to the resulting action. I will work harmoniously with other board members without trying to dominate the board or neglect my share of the work.
Sorry. This one. 5. I will support the full administrative authority as well as the responsibility for the superintendent of schools to properly discharge all professional duties. I will hold the superintendent of schools accountable for working and requiring staff to work within the framework of policies set up by the board. I will understand that the board sets the standards for the school districts through policy and that board members do not manage the district on a day-to-day basis. I will refer all complaints and concerns to the superintendent of schools and abstain from individual counsel and action in regard to staff members.
I will educate myself about my duties and responsibilities and current educational issues by individual study and through participation in programs providing needed information. I will avoid all conflicts of interest and will refrain from using my board position for personal or partisan gain. I will uphold the integrity and independence of the position. I will become familiar with federal and state education laws and school board policies. I will continually advocate for the goals of the school district. I will vote and act impartially for the good of the school district. I will attend board meetings and become informed concerning the issues to be concerned at those meetings. I will model civility to students, employees, and all elements of the community by encouraging the free expression of opinion by all board members and engaging in respectful dialogue with fellow board members on matters being considered by the board.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's important that those are read aloud and that we each, we're certainly supporting them all, not just the one we read. But thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the agenda, which includes the consent agenda. Once the agenda is accepted, the board mutually agrees not to discuss any item of business or take any action that has not been accepted for the agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And are we all able to
I've
get?
got it set up, everyone should be able to.
Okay, we'll just do an audible vote then. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, with that, we will move on to recognitions. At this time, Mr. Golden is going to be recognizing two highly intelligent students that have perfect ACT scores. We're so proud of you, and I'll let Mr. Golden take it from here.
Thank you. I apologize for having technical issues here. We're going to go by paper. Do we have the following seniors here? Rashib Day and Claire Lee. Are they both here? Could they both join me up here at the podium? I appreciate that. We'd like to recognize, is Rashib? Is it? Rashab, I'm so sorry. Is it Claire? Okay. Rashab and Claire, we'd like to recognize you for scoring the highest possible composite score of a 36 on the March 2024 ACT test. Nationally, approximately 1/4% of students who make the ACT or take the ACT exam earn the top score. The ACT national average composite score was 19.5 in 2023. The ACT consists of tests in English, mathematics, reading, and science, each second on a scale of 1 to 36. A student's composite score is the average of the 4 test scores. The ACT is a curriculum-based achievement exam that measures what students have learned in school. Students earning a 36 composite score have likely mastered all of the skills and knowledge needed to succeed in first-year college courses in the core subject areas. ACT test scores are accepted by all 4 major colleges and universities across the United States. And we would like to celebrate your amazing achievements here today. Thank you so much. Parents, please come up and get pictures with your children as well, because you're the real impetus behind this.
Congratulations. And I will say technology has not been our friend today, so the certificates will be forthcoming. It's been a day, so we apologize for that. But students, we are so very proud of you, and parents, we're so very thankful for your students. It is my absolute honor to recognize Bryan Kerns, Dobyns-Bennett High School Fire Management Services and Mathematics teacher, for being named by the Tennessee Department of Education as the 2024-2025 State of Tennessee Teacher of the Year. Mr. Kerns received this award during the TDOE's annual Excellence in Education celebration in Nashville on August 23rd, 2024, and it was also our opening football game. And by the way, if you haven't heard, you got a standing ovation when the announcement was made. So we're so proud of you. Mr. Kerns has spent 17 years of a 20-year teaching career as an Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 teacher at Dobyns-Bennett High School. In addition to teaching mathematics, he created the Dobyns-Bennett Fire Program, which includes the DB Prescribed Fire Team and full progression of the Career and Technical Education Fire Management Services courses. Mr. Kerns' unique work in building the DB Fire Program has earned him invitations to speak at the North Carolina Prescribed Council annual meeting, the Southern Blue Ridge Fire Learning Network annual workshop, and the Longleaf Alliance biannual meeting. He currently serves as president-elect of the Bays Mountain Park Association Board and is the Southern Blue Ridge Fire Learning Network landscape lead for the Unaka and Great Smoky Mountains Escarpment. He holds a bachelor's degree from Tennessee Tech University and a master's degree from Grand Canyon University. As the 2024-2025 Tennessee Teacher of the Year, Mr. Kerns will represent Tennessee in the National Teacher of the Year competition and serve as an ambassador for education in the state throughout the 2024-2025 school year. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bryan Kerns. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is only the third teacher in the history of Dobyns-Bennett or KCS that has received this award. We've had several who have made it as a finalist, but Mr. Kerns, we are so proud of you. We're proud of your family, your parents, your whole family. Your wife is now in education. Your kids are a part of KCS. And personal note, your mom taught my kids in elementary school, so they're all in for Kingsport, and we're just so proud of you and so thankful. So thank you very much. She wants to come up. Now is the time when members of the audience are invited to comment on agenda items. It is not the time to speak about personnel issues, as there are more appropriate ways in which these can be addressed. If you are not sure how to do this, please ask one of us after the meeting. In your remarks, you may not refer to students by name without permission from the parent or guardian. If you would like to speak on a topic not included on the agenda, you're asked to submit your request in writing to the superintendent of schools at least 3 business days prior to the scheduled date of the meeting. If you would like to speak about an item included on the agenda for this meeting, it is requested that you first state your name and limit your remarks to a maximum of 3 minutes. And are there any? Seeing none, we will move on. Our first item of business is the approval to enter into an agreement with Niswonger Foundation for the Project On Track tutoring program. Mr. David Fry.
Good evening. Have for your consideration this evening an agreement between Kingsport City Schools, City of Kingsport, and the Niswonger Foundation. This is for a program called Project On Track. It is a high-dosage, low-ratio tutoring program for math and literacy. We've had this program for a couple of years now, but it's been a relatively small dollar amount where it didn't necessitate Board of Education, Board of Merit and Honor approval. It was in about a $20,000 range. You can see this year it has grown to $149,476. Previously, it was only at Sevier and Jackson. This year, it's at Sevier, Kennedy, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Adams. So this, we pay some of our teachers to provide some tutoring. Like I said, it's a very low ratio tutoring program for literacy and math. That's really about all I have to say about it. We'd recommend your approval.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Fry? Okay, seeing none, the recommended action is to enter into an agreement with Niswonger Foundation for the Project On Track Tutoring Program in the amount of $149,476. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and Ms. Altizer, are we all up now? Todd, were you able? Okay, we'll continue just the rest of the meeting with audible vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Fry.
Thank you.
Our second item of business is a student enrollment decision. Mr. Jim Nash.
Good evening. Tonight we come to you with not a common thing at all, and I want to remind you at the beginning, please note that I cannot discuss anything that would be personally identifiable regarding this student and this situation, though I will do my best to answer any questions you may have. We have a student who's requesting to enroll who previously was in another state, and then while he was in that state, he was expelled long-term. Actually through August of 2030, and we are recommending that, as we can under state law under Tennessee Code annotated 49-6-3401, that we uphold that and we not enroll this student at this time. I did, as the law requires, this has to be investigated, and I personally did that. I had communications with the school, had direct contact with the administrator who dealt with the issues regarding this student, to investigate the facts around the situation, reported all of that information to Dr. Hampton, and then officially Dr. Hampton is bringing this recommendation to the board for him not to be enrolled.
Okay, and just for clarification, each BOE member has received information regarding this student. Okay. There's no other discussion then. The recommended action is to deny enrollment of a student who has been expelled until August of 2030 from an LEA in a bordering state pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated 49-6-3401, which states, nothing in this title shall require an LEA to enroll a student who is under suspension or expelled in an LEA either in Tennessee or another state. The Director of Schools for the school system in which the suspended student requests enrollment shall make a recommendation to the local Board of Education to approve or deny the request. So is there a motion to deny enrollment?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Mr. Nash? We'll move on to the next business item, which is Student Disciplinary Hearing Authority Placement Decision Appeal.
Yes, so on August 29th, we had a disciplinary hearing for a student. And again, I will remind everyone, I cannot discuss anything that would be personally identifiable regarding this student. As Ms. Woods mentioned previously, for this situation as well, you each have individually received information regarding the situation. At that time, the student, at the end of the hearing, the committee determined for the student to be remanded to the alternative school for the remainder of the school year. And the parent, they are appealing the decision to the Board of Education, and then under policy, you all, as a board, you can affirm the decision, you can You could actually reduce it to a lower consequence, or you could elect to have a hearing. I believe those are the options listed in policy for you as a board. But the parent did make an appeal, as is absolutely their right to do. And so if you have any questions regarding the situation, I would be happy to answer any questions that you have, just maintaining the confidentiality of the student.
Okay. So just for clarity, each board member has received information regarding the disciplinary hearing in question. No details of this particular hearing will be discussed. At this time, the board has three options. 1, affirm the decision of the hearing authority. 2, modify the decision to a lesser penalty. Or 3, grant a hearing before the board. And hearing no questions, I move to affirm the decision of the Student Disciplinary Hearing Authority. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Nash. And we will move to our final business item tonight, which is approval of policies on first reading. Dr. Andy True.
Good evening. We do have 4 policies for consideration this evening. And just as a little background as well to kind of reset the scene, we subscribe through the Tennessee School Boards Association to their policy service, and they are kind of our watchdog in a lot of ways when it comes to changes in policy at the state board level, changes in law, and then how that impacts our own policy manual and decisions we may need to make to either alter, revise, change, add policies to our current policy manual. They provide that service and really in an ongoing way with a couple of major milestones. Every year they do an audit of our policy manual to ensure that we have all the policies on the books that we need to, that are required by state law. And then one of the major things they do for us over the summer is to provide really a breakdown of all of the changes that have come out of the legislature the previous year and how that impacts us from a policy standpoint, and they provide that service to many districts across the state, and we subscribe to that. So generally in the middle of the summer, we get a listing, an email that is many pages long, and it lists all of the things that we'll have to address, the rationale behind why, and then they also write model policy and provide supporting materials for us that kind of direct us back from the policy to the law. And so what you'll find in BOE Connect every month is a compilation of all of those documents, kind of a summary memo that I put together, and then also, the policies that we're looking to address that particular month, and then all of the backstory, all of the TCA that's involved, or if they're State Board of Ed policies as well that kind of explain the rationale as to why. Generally what we'll do is to provide a chance at a work session to kind of dig deep into those that we need to, and then come back then at the following meeting for an actual vote. Revisions of current policies can be passed and dealt with on one reading. New policies require 2. So I say all of that as some backstory. We came out of the summer with 26 policies that were required for us to address based on changes in law. So it's a little bit heavier load this year than we typically have, although generally it's about 20. But this year, as we currently sit, we're at 26. And I would anticipate as we go through the course of the year that number may go up as certain information becomes available. Just again, as all of those governmental pieces do their work, sometimes they'll identify some things that we'll need to address. So what I tried to do and what we've tried to do is to group them in particular categories so it makes sense. Back in August, we dealt with 8 policies, I think, that we deemed as ones that were immediate needs. Then at the work session in August, we discussed 4, which I have for you this evening, and we'll go over them again here for consideration on first reading. And those are related to support services and personnel sections in the policy manual. Then we've got next month a group that are related to the section on students in the policy manual, and then in the October-November rotation, it'll be more for instructional services. So try to kind of have some semblance of why, and it makes sense why we've grouped some of these things together. So again, of the 26, there was only 1 new policy that took 2 readings. The rest that we'll be dealing with now are all 1 reading policies, because they're all current ones that we have on the books that we just need to revise. So that being said, I'll go over the 4 that we have kind of lined up for this evening. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about them. And I'll give you kind of the rationale as to why we need to make changes to them. The first is policy 3.202, Emergency Preparedness Plan. Change in state law this year basically requires that districts work with local law enforcement and fire departments to develop a procedure for identifying the cause of an unscheduled fire alarm situation. And this really relates back to prior active shooting scenarios in other parts of the country where I think, there's somebody pulls the alarm, kids scatter, and I think from a safety standpoint, the intent of the law is that we have a process in place where if it isn't a drill, if it's an unexpected kind of scenario, that we have a procedure in place to identify whether or not this is an actual fire scenario or if it's something that needs to be dealt with in another way. So we have already had, and you can kind of see on the policy document there on lines 19 through 21, the wording that was recommended by TSBA, the model wording to add to our policy. We've already started that discussion with our safety task force. That's a group that regularly meets and has for several years that we have in place. It involves law enforcement, fire department, first responders, mental health administrators, district staff, to really work through issues that involve school safety so that we've got the experts in the room to make good decisions. So we started that discussion with them, that those specific procedures are still in development. The law says we have to have them in place, and the policy as well, by January 1 of 25. And so we'll continue to work with the safety task force in order to make that happen. And then once that procedure is in place, we'll roll that out to our school staff so they can be aware as well. So the change to the actual policy itself there, again, is on page 1, lines 19 through 21 in blue. 3.400, Student Transportation Management. Again, this is a new state law that required boards to issue certificates to bus drivers ensuring physical and mental health, as well as there is another provision that requires a signage be placed in school buses that identify that only authorized persons are able to enter the bus, and then contact information in case of there being an issue on the bus. And so that's something that's our transportation department is ensuring takes place with signage, as well as things that are already in place for us when it comes to kind of that evaluation from a physical and mental health examination standpoint. Our transportation director, Tommy Starnes, is in charge of that and ensures that that takes place. So that's 3.400. 5.307, physical assault leave. This modifies our current policy and current law that the old law in our policy was that if a teacher was absent due to a result of personal injury caused by a physical assault or criminal act in the course of their duties, they would receive their full salary for up to a year before they return to work. The law changed it now. It doesn't apply just to teachers, but it's employees. So it basically expands those that would be willing or able to access that and play by those rules under the physical assault leave. So old rule, just in law, just teachers. New is that it would be all employees.
Dr. True, does that include our SROs, or would they fall under Kingsport Police Department?
That's a great question. Phil, and Jennifer, I looked both back in the direction of our HR director and our city attorney. Physical assault leave change, all employees, would that apply to SROs was the question, with them being KPD officers as opposed to city employees. Yeah, not as employees of the district. Okay. Just want to confirm that. So they would fall under the scope of Kingsport Police.
Thank you.
And then 5.701, classified substitutes, stipulation that the superintendent is responsible for ensuring there are appropriate training and development programs for substitute teachers, including our annual safety training to make sure that they are fully informed. That happens. Former teacher Kathy Moffitt does a lot of training for us with our substitute staffing, and so she is in charge of that, as well as online training that is available through our portal that our substitutes would be engaged in. So those are the 4 policies. Again, all of them current policies that we would seek to revise based on changes in law. It would take effect upon one vote of our board.
Okay, are there any other questions for Dr. True regarding those policies? Okay, seeing none, then the recommended action is to approve the 4 revised policies on first reading. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second? Okay, Mr. Marshall seconded, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This could be record time. We do have some times and dates of upcoming meetings that I think bear mentioning. Our fall district TSBA meeting is going to be at 5 p.m. in Greene County, and I believe that's at Chucky Doak High School, September 23rd, 2024. And then on September 24th, very next day, on Tuesday, we'll have our normally scheduled BOE work session at 6 o'clock. Then the following week, on September 30th, we will have a joint BOE-BMA work session at 4 p.m. at City Hall in the Montgomery-Waterston Boardroom. That's at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. On the 30th. And then on October 15th, we will have our regularly scheduled business meeting for October. And then that Friday, October 18th, is our annual BOE retreat, and that will be at 8 a.m. at the lodge, at the Eastman Lodge. So just want to make sure, I know people's schedules get a little crazy, so thank you, Ms. Altizer, for including those with the agenda. And again, welcome to our new board members. We're so glad that you're here. This is kind of an unusually calm meeting, which we like those, but can't guarantee they'll always be this smooth and easy. Usually, Mr. Fry is asking for money instead of receiving money. So, no, it's a good time. It's great to have you, Todd. Good to have you back. Okay. If there are no other discussions, Dr. Hampton?
We'll take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Jackson and Dr. Marshall to our team. I use that word intentionally because that is how we operate and how we serve our community. So welcome aboard. And I'll also take the opportunity, we're so well supported. We passed 2 financially driven endeavors tonight. One was on consent agenda where we accepted donations, and then one was with through the Niswonger Foundation. And we're so fortunate that, almost $250,000 to those 2 decisions coming to our district. So thanks to the Niswonger Foundation for making that opportunity available to us. And then what I'm referring to from the consent agenda, and all of our board members are aware, but I think it's important to mention that 11 schools received over $66,000 in donations to this point over this school through this point in the school year, going back to January to this point, so in the calendar year. But we serve and live in a community that elevates us at every opportunity. And so to anyone and everyone who was part of those donations, on behalf of our school system, I'd like to say thank you, and Roll Tribe.
Roll Tribe. We have a lot of activities going on. I know golf is in full swing, no pun intended. We've got a home football game again this weekend, and just lots going on. So get out and support all the schools. And with that, we are adjourned. Roll Tribe.